Well, hello there, sugar. Welcome to another felonious episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. Ooh, if this is your first time making mayhem with us, let me tell you what you stepped off into. You see, Melanin Mayhem brings you the stories of some of the most heinous, diabolical, and downright audacious serial and mass murdering shenanigans committed by some melanated baddies that you may have never heard of. And if you have heard about them, you ain't heard the story the way I tell it. You see, my mission in life is to dispel this myth in our world that there are certain types of crimes that black people don't commit. Baby, I call bullshit to the highest point of bullshittery because, baby, we do it all. Been doing it all since we graced this place with our melanin presence. So I gotta make sure that you protect your neck because it's going down out here in these here streets of mayhem, honey. Now, to the baddest streamers in the land, the one, the only, New One Nation. Ew, what's cracking, cousins? Ooh, my Lord, I have missed y'all. I'm telling y'all, it seems like it has been so long since we talked. Like, a week feels like a month. I mean, what y'all been up to? Y'all do understand that this week is Halloween. Y'all tricking or y'all treating this week? Well, Wayne said it ain't tricking if you got it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. And if y'all getting cute for a little costume party or something, that's what I want to do. I want to get cute, like go to a little masquerade party. Can somebody invite me to a masquerade party? I got some masks that are just dying to get their shine on. You know, you might be asking, well, what you buy a mask for and you ain't got no ball to go to? Well, y'all know my motto, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So when I do fall off in one, I got several masks to choose from. All right, enough of that tomfoolery now. I really don't have much by way of church announcements today. I do have something cooking for the holidays. Another live show, but this time we're going to do it online because I know y'all going to be Christmas shopping and getting your ho on. And ain't nobody got time for flights and things or whatever, especially with TSA not getting paid. Folks, it's hurting right now. So we're going to get our crime on in the comfort of our own homes, just the way we like it. Stay tuned. I'll be dropping more details shortly once we get some more plans finalized. Also, I will be dropping some hoodies and some sweatshirts and other cold weather merchandise. The discussion group, of course, will get the news first. Remember, membership has its privileges, but keep checking the website. That's melaninmayhempodcast.com for updates, okay? All right, that's all I got for today, so, govern yourselves accordingly. We got business to attend to, y'all, because I got a motherfucker today that is as trifling as they come. I mean, in doing this case, I have cussed and I have cackled trying to get this goddamn story together because it's full of everything we like when we spilling the tea. We got treachery, we got fuckery, and somebody getting a lick back. Ooh, ain't no telling the exact number of bodies that this murdering murderer that murdered a gang of women actually got for factual. But I'm gonna run down the CVS receipt of victims that we do know about. And when I get done, all you gonna be able to say is, So let's go on ahead and get into it. Dragging a low-life, trifling, diabolical motherfucker to the front of the congregation. This week's Melanin Mayhem maker is Mr. Alfred Gaynor. All right, crime cousins, let's go on ahead and get to doing what we came here to do. Now, Alfred Gaynor was born December 10th, 1966. His mother was Plushia Gaynor. And I tell you, every time I see her name, Plusha, I don't know why, Plusha T. Anyway, Plushia Gaynor. And I'm going to call her Plusha T probably throughout the entirety of this conversation whenever I have to talk about old punk-ass Alfred's mama. Now, as far as his daddy goes, he must have been a Rolling Stone, and he must not have laid his hat at Plusha T's home because his name never came up and has never been mentioned. So I don't know who in the hell Alfred's daddy is, but I do know that Alfred has at least 2 siblings, a sister and a brother. And there might be some more out there that we just don't know about, you know what I'm saying? Because they laying real low. Now, Plusha T raised her children in Springfield, and word on the curb is that Alfred was lost in the sauce as a pup. He ain't have no get up and go in him. None whatsoever. They say his hustle muscle was atrophied, never formed. In other words, he was a lazy ass mofo. No aspirations for anything anywhere near about some business, right? Alfred was just in the world existing. He ain't graduated from nobody's school. I'm talking high school, technical school, college, nothing. Just out here in this world. And he is a first generation crackhead. I mean, bouncing between his sister's house and his mama's house in the projects in Springfield, Massachusetts. You know, he pick up little odd piece of jobs. They say he worked in an auto body shop for a couple of days or whatever, but that shit didn't work out. But then Alfred found his calling. Oh yes, he decided that he was gonna work as a do boy for the dope boys. It was perfect. The hours was good. He didn't have to get up early and whatever they wanted him to do, whether it was serving the fiends or washing their cars or cleaning up some shit, whatever it was, Alfred would do it. And the pay was in a currency that he preferred. Dope. It was a match made in crack heaven. According to Alfred, crack is his first and last love. Ooh, that's deep. Ooh, that's deep right there. That's some show enough first generation crackhead talk right there. His brother said that he used to drop Alfred off all the time on the crack host roll. Oh, if he only knew the shit that his brother Alfred was actually getting into in them crackhead streets. So let's go on ahead and get started with the killing spree that we know about. Joanne Thomas was 38 years old. She had a couple of children that lived with her in her second floor apartment on Worthington Street in Springfield. Now, life was lifing a little bit, and she was doing whatever needed to be done to make it do what it do. And if that meant doing something strange for a little piece of change from time to time, then hey, consenting adults can do and charge for whatever services they render, right? But entrepreneurial activities aside, Joanne, she also liked a little baking soda with her cocaine. You know what I'm saying? And hey, humans got all kinds of habits and vices and ways of coping with life. And I report the news, I don't judge. Because regardless as to whether or not Joanne liked a little crack to take the edge off, she was doing the adulting thing pretty good. I mean, she had served in the Navy. She kept a roof over her children's head. And in 1997, there were plenty of first-generation crackheads around that was team fuck them kids. So, in my mind, Joanne is doing what she need to do, girl. Even swap ain't no swindle. But anyway, on Halloween night, 1997, that's October 31st, right around the corner. Hell, that was almost 30 years ago this Friday. Yeah. Anyway, on Halloween night, 1997, Joanne's children, they got their trick-or-treat on, and then she put them down to bed around about 10 o'clock that night, and that's a decent time for the children to go to bed on a holiday full of candy. And once the children was down, oh, it was grown folks' time, honey. And Joanne, she had a little company over. That nigga Alfred, because again, Alfred keep a little piece of rock on him, so he good company. Alfred come over to the house, they geek out a little bit, and the next thing you know, Joanne is hanging with the lily of the valley. Her son gets up early the next morning. I'm talking Saturday morning, November 1st, 1997. Now, on a Saturday morning, he was probably going to go try to get in that candy from last night and go watch some cartoons. And what he do? He finds his mama naked on the sofa, deader than a motherfucker. Now, that's horrible. No child should ever get up and stumble across their mama while they looking for some Fruit Loops. What the fuck? I mean, that's traumatized much? Forever traumatized. I mean, and it's one thing if it's a natural death. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she died in her sleep, but here she is, naked on the sofa, and that funky, freaky, fuck-ass nigga done did some stroke and choke type activities and done took Joanne right on up out the game. That punk-ass Alfred tied her hands up behind her back. He raped her, and it was bad too, y'all. He a backdoor bandit, if you know what I mean. And according to the medical examiner, he was brutal with it. Oh, baby, he had Joanne shit bust down and leaking. And he was nasty because the CSI people, when they came up in there, they found fecal materials on a sock and on the carpet and on a towel and inside of a vase. Like, nigga, what was you doing inside this woman's house? Where you putting your hands at? Be still. Shit. They also found this nigga Alfred's thumbprint on an ashtray and his palm print on a jar of gel. Now, what I don't understand is why the fuck didn't that shit match? I mean, he done had some run-ins with the law. His shit should have been in the system. I mean, the killing really should have stopped right here with Joanne, but it wasn't. And I know if this shit had happened to Becky with the prescription drug issues, they'd have used that damn print to find the motherfucking murderer that murdered the Caucasic woman. You understand what I'm saying? But you know, we talking about a black woman here who like a little cracky crack, so the police is not really, shall we say, enthusiastic in their investigating, none whatsoever. But we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna look like this nigga took a little break between Joanne and his next victim, but there wasn't. But I gotta tell you the story the way it all came out, not necessarily how it all went down for real, because please understand, Joanne ain't even the first woman in this neighborhood area called Metro Center to come up dead. Oh, no, but as usual, the police don't see a pattern. But the hood do, and the peoples is shooketh, and the women are scared to walk alone at night. So let's keep this thing rolling. You see now, next there was this woman. Her name was Loretta Daniel. Now they called Loretta Lil Bit, and Lil Bit was 38, and honey, Lil Bit was for the streets, honey. Lil Bit was a purveyor of the pussy, a funky monkey financier. You know what I'm talking about. And she also had acquired a taste for that crack-a-lack. Baby, Lil Bit was for sure a first-generation crackhead. Baby, she stayed posted up in the crack house. You could find Lil Bit at the dope house at 65 Maynard Street in Springfield at any time of the day or night. She was what they called a regular. And old Alfred, dusty dick ass, he was a regular over there too. So, you know, in the dope house, crack house, whatever you want to call it, they do all this dope, right? They end up doing all mannerisms of shit. I mean, they selling drugs and they selling ass. They sucking on a pipe and they sucking dick. And I mean, it was going down in that mud. And like I said, Lil Bit was a regular. Well, one day, she just wasn't around no more. And that shit was odd because, hell, Lil Bit might as well have been getting her mail over there at the crack house. That's where she lived. But then, February 2nd, 1998, she was found half naked in an alley by a post office on State Street in Springfield. Looked like somebody had done posed a little bit too. Like, there wasn't no natural the way they found her. You see, her arms were raised up over her head. Somebody was trying to take her sweatshirt off and they just kind of got it up to like her elbows and they just stopped once it was over her head and just left her arms like that over her head. Then this punk ass Alfred, baby, he done raped a little bit and then choked a little bit, sent her on to that big rehab in the sky. Now Lil Bit done went from crack to Christ, and that's a good thing, you know, when you still in the land of the living. But I'm sure Lil Bit didn't realize that particular day that she was gonna be going on to glory. I'm just saying, Now, the motherfucker that killed Lil Bit, he did her wrong. And you know we talking about Alfred. And we know because kind of like Joanne, CSI, they found fecal matter wiped on a shirt and some socks right there by Lil Bit's body. And she was leaking from the tailpipe. And you know, they got some DNA, but in 1998, the police were not exactly pressed to do any type of extra work to find out who killed Lil Bit because her tox screen showed that she had that cocaine and baking soda in her system when she went on to glory. And you know what? That's all right because eventually the police in Springfield are going to get around to doing the motherfucking job that the people, the tax-paying citizens are paying them to do. It's just they're not going to do it right now. Now, so 8 days later, 8 days, we talking about a week and a day, y'all, another regular at the crackhead on Maynard Street came up deader than a motherfucker too. Baby, tell me why 42-year-old Rosemary Downs. Now, Rosemary was a CNA, a full functioning recreational user of the crack pipe. Well, on February 10th, 1988, Rosemary and Alfred was up in the cat house trying to sell some CDs. Y'all remember CDs, right? Yeah, they had done came up on some CDs and they were trying to trade these CDs for some crack. It's about 9:30 that night. Well, the dope boys clearly were not interested in the CDs that they was trying to sell, and they was like, kick rocks, come back with some money. So Rosemary and Alfred, they leave, but they came back a little while later, somewhere around about like 11 o'clock that night, and now they actually got some money, right? So they came in there, they copped the crack, and they get on up out of there, right? That's the last time anybody ever saw Rosemary Downs alive. Now, the following evening, her son come in the apartment where she lived at over on Lionel Benoit Road, which was around the corner from the crack house on Main Street. But she got her own house. I don't give a fuck. She got her own shit. Baby, that motherfucking Alfred snatched her shirt up around her head, just like how he did a little bit. Stopped when he got the shirt up just enough. And Rosemary, she had a sock stuffed in her mouth. And that's what basically asphyxiated her. She couldn't breathe. And when the medical examiner got a hold of Rosemary, he found her rear end had been ramrodded. Much like our previous victim, she had been assaulted anally and left leaking. And now CSI found Alfred's puss-ass palm prints on a coffee mug and his semen and fecal matter on a pillowcase and some sweatpants right there by Rosemary. But again, I know it's early. DNA is not really a thing, but y'all got prints and y'all got this nigga's palm print and y'all ain't even matched that to the palm print for little bit stuff. Like, make it make sense. They still don't see the connection. Now, this motherfucking Alfred, oh, he ain't got no stopping him. Only go, honey, just like the motherfucking Energizer Bunny, because he back on the bullshit. Our next victim is a woman named Joyce Dickerson. Now, Joyce, 37 years old, and again, what I consider a second-generation crack user, right? She's functional. She worked for an insurance company. She had her own everything, a crib and her car. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but when she wanted to let her hair down a little bit, she liked to hit the pipe. And she wasn't selling her body or her baby's pampers to get no dope. You know what I'm saying? So, Joyce ain't a regular on the crack scene like, say, Lil Bit was, but, you know, she'll come through, you know, from time to time, and she's around enough with the Smoke Rock crew. You know what I'm saying? She's peripherally around. Well, on February 18th, 1998, it was one of them days where Joyce wanted to get loose a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Ever responsible, she got a babysitter for her 6 and her 13-year-old daughters, and then Joyce, Alfred, and another crackhead, they hit the street to get their geek on in Joyce's car. Now, they end up at this lady house who was also smoking crack. And so all 4 of them sitting around smoking crack. Well, you know, I'm thinking, you know, on a blunt, 4 people on a blunt, that mug gonna go quick. 4 people on a crack pipe, they probably ran out of crack pretty goddamn fast too. So, you know, they get up and they finna go re-up. Well, must have been low on funds. There is an ATM picture showing Joyce going to an ATM. She must have got a little piece of money out at some point in time to go, you know, re-up or whatever. But I don't know, however, whatever, whenever, whoever. The story that Alfred went to spending was that, you know, they wanted to go back again to go get some dope, but they ain't had no money. I guess Joyce didn't want to go back to the ATM no more. Maybe it wasn't nothing else in there. I don't know. Well, she had on some Mickey Mouse earrings, and they was trying to sell her earrings to the dope boys. Well, dope boys clearly wasn't a fan of Mickey Mouse, and they was like, hey, we accept cash only around this motherfucker. So they decide to leave, and Alfred is telling Joyce that, you know what, you need to sell it on to somebody, you know what I'm saying? We can get us some money, da-da-da-da-da. When Joyce couldn't sell her earrings to the dope boys, that's the last time anybody has ever seen Joyce alive. This is the night of February 18th. And this pattern continues that ain't nobody seeing the women who were partaking of the crack with this particular gentleman that ain't never seen no more. But that's all right. Those that in the smoke crack circle might not have been making the connection, but please understand that the alarm bells was alarming the very next day, because remember, Joyce's daughters was with the babysitter and she ain't come pick them up, which was strange and very out of character. So a missing persons report was filed expeditiously because, yes, Joyce might smoke her back out from time to time, but she always came home. They found Joyce's car parked way out, you know, not where she would normally park it in the apartment complex. And it looked like somebody had ran through that bitch, right? Shit was everywhere. The seats were stained. Is that blood on them seats? That sure what it looked like. Not to mention the keys was on the floor of the car. Now, you know that ain't right. Even in our blackout drunk state, we keep our keys with us. Now, where the fuck is Joyce? And why her keys here in her car? Something just ain't right. But you know what? The police, they not feeling the urgency. They were like, you know what, she'll show up. Just wait. And I guess, in a way, they were right. It just wasn't a way that nobody wanted Joyce to show up. Now, Joyce is gone. But please understand, Joyce got peoples. Joyce got a mama who ain't with that shit. And her mother is persistent and on the police's ass about her daughter. So the police, they opened up an investigation into her disappearance. But right after it all happened, they were adamant that Joyce's disappearance, that ain't got nothing to do with these women that are coming up dead. Just because women are coming up dead that ain't never came up dead before, Joyce is not one of them. She ain't got nothing in common with none of these other women that have come up dead because they were recreational users of the crack. Then we found them dead with their booty leaking. That ain't gonna be Joyce. That's not gonna be Joyce. But you know what? The community, they didn't share that same thought. Oh, no. As a matter of fact, the community took matters into their own hands. And one particular member of the community, Minister Yusuf Muhammad of Muhammad's Mosque number 13. Him and his little group, they started their own investigation. The bros did their own searches, as well as went door to door in the neighborhood, talking to the community, trying to figure out what the fuck done happened to Joyce. And you know what? They found out. Something in the milk wasn't clean. And Joyce did indeed fit the profile of the women that was coming up missing and murdered. And you can probably guess, though, the popo wasn't too pleased that the mosque was out here making them look incompetent. Not that it took too much to make their asses look incompetent, but hey, I digress. So, because they feeling shamed by the Mosque brothers, they go out and they start talking to the peoples and, the crackheads and the drug dealers, and they find out, after they actually ask some questions, that Alfred was the last motherfucker seen with Joyce. And he was also the last motherfucker seen with some of them other victims, too. Well, I be goddamn. So now, the Springfield police, they want to talk to Alfred. And baby, on February 27th, 1998, Alfred pop up at the precinct on his mystical. Somebody, I heard you was looking for me. Well, here I go. Did y'all see the No Limit? Okay, that ain't got nothing to do with them. Stay on track, Renee. Stay on track. Okay, so Alfred, he go up in the police precinct and everything that he says is the opposite of what the people in the streets are saying, right? Like the people who were actively smoking crack with these particular ladies in the time frames, the days and hours before their disappearances, they all said that Alfred was around. Alfred is like, I don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, I fucked with them, but then we all went our separate ways. They was breathing when I left. And as far as for Joyce, shit, when we got through smoking, Joyce dropped me off. She drove off. We went our separate ways. Cause ain't nobody had no money. Wasn't no more crack being smoked. So shit, I went down to the bar. Oh, you went down to the bar? Yeah, I went down to the bar. And I'm gonna get my drink on, right? And I hung out with one of my homies. And then I got dropped off at my girl house. So the police was like, okay, well, you sit right here. We finna go check out your alibi. And the bartender at the Yellow Jacket, that was the name of the bar that old Alfred said that he was at drinking. Bartender said, shit, I ain't seen Alfred. And I thought Alfred liked to smoke, not drink. That's what we thought too. And the homie that was supposed to been kicking it with Alfred that night, homie said, shit, I ain't seen that nigga in a minute. I don't know what he calling my name for. And I'm trying to figure out, if you don't have no money to buy no more crack, where you get some money to drink with, Alfred? Okay. Well, Alfred's alibis are falling apart. So now they bring the girlfriend down to the precinct where Alfred at. See if we can figure out this timeline, right? Because Alfred is saying that he ended up at his girlfriend's house about 12:30 midnight, right? And girlfriend was like, no, I don't remember it like that. And that's too early. I think it was more like around 6 o'clock in the morning before you showed up at my house, Alfred. And so Alfred sitting her like, nah, bitch, it was 12. It was 12:30. She was like, nah. No, I don't think so. Girlfriend clearly ain't picking up what the fuck Alfred trying to put down. Ooh, it ain't looking good, Alfred. Look like you about to be the one getting fucked. And so now that all his alibis ain't panning out, the police hit him with some pictures from Joyce's car. And they was like, hey, you see them stains on that seat? That's sperm. And that right there, that's blood. What are the chances that's your sperm and that's your blood, Alfred? So Alfred sitting there looking stupid. So then the police was like, so can we get a little blood sample and let us get these here fingerprints and these palm prints. We're just gonna compare some shit. You know what I'm saying? See if what we found over here match anything to you. And this nigga Alfred, he got to be the dumbest because he agreed to let them get his shit. nigga, like, what the fuck? I mean, I know if I got dirt out in these streets, the last thing I'm gonna do is give my genetic material to the police. You gonna have to dig through the trash, bro. You gonna have to do your job. I am not gonna make your job easy because I ain't on the payroll. But in cases like this, thank the Lord above for a dumbass criminal who really think that they can play the system. So they fingerprint Alfred, they take his palm print, then they drive him over to the Bay State Medical Center where he signed a consent form, and then they drew 4 vials of his blood. I guess one for every victim. Well, then they asked Alfred to take a polygraph, and apparently this was just too much for him. So this nigga was like, I think I need to hire a lawyer. But what I want to know is, Alfred, what in the fuck did you get some money for a lawyer? You know what? I bet that motherfucking Pusha T. God damn it, Pusha T. Sit Plusher like, y'all ain't finna railroad my motherfucking son. This shit ain't gonna happen on my watch. Long as I got breath in my body and 2 nickels to rub together, you will not. And she did. She went and got her son a lawyer. So they let Alfred walk on out with his lawyer, whatever, because that's what you gotta do. They don't have enough evidence to hold him on anything, right? But please understand, they truly believe at this point that Alfred is our man. They just got to make this motherfucking case now, right? Well, in the course of their investigation and talking with the street committee, the police find out that Alfred was trying to sell some jewelry to get some crack, and somebody said that they seen him down at the pawn shop. Well, the police on March 16th, 1998, they take a stroll down into the pawn shop and come to find out Alfred pawned a pair of Mickey Mouse earrings. Looked like the same earrings Joyce had. Guess how much you got for Joyce's earrings, y'all? $12 funky. 12, sir. You killed that lady for $12. Ooh, that's a trifling bastard there. I mean, what is that, a rock and a crumb? Boy, stop. But you told police that when you left Joyce, she was alive and well, in full control of everything and all her accoutrements, including her earrings in her ear. But if you pawning her earrings, how you get them earrings if when you left her, the earrings was in her ear when she was alive and well, sir? Okay. Now, knowing that Alfred is being linked to all of the victims as well as having pawned Joyce's shit, the police, they started tailing Alfred. They had got this nigga under surveillance, and they don't try to hide the fact that they was all up in his shit neither. They got Alfred walking around that bitch talking about he feel like he got the whole ass battalion of cars following him. And you should, sir. Good. That's very, very good. That means finally the police are doing their jobs. But at the same time, if they following you like white on rice, that means you ain't gonna be out here committing no felonies, son. They can't catch you in the act. Again, not the brightest bulbs in the pack, but you know, hey, I guess they trying. They working with the straps that they was given. But then it happened. Yeah. On March 11th, 1998, they found Joyce's body. Ooh, and Joyce was naked as a newborn baby. And she was frozen like a goddamn popsicle outside of an abandoned restaurant over off of East Columbus Avenue. And it looked like she had been posed too. Now, her left hand was laying on her stomach like she was holding, like, you know, you rub your stomach when you're pregnant or something like that. Her right arm was draped across some tree limbs that had been cut and was situated right next to her. But they gotta wait for Joyce to thaw out because she's frozen. So it took the medical examiner a couple of days to get in there and do what he do. But when he did get up in there, we talking about a repeat of the prior victim's MO. Joyce's undercarriage has been abused and is leaking fluid. Her manner of death is strangulation. Her air been cut off. And now, the Springfield police is like, y'all, we got a serial killer on the loose in Springfield that's anally raping and strangling the ladies that like to smoke a little something. No shit, Sherlock. Glad that it only took you damn near 2 years to catch on to the fact that these women are coming up missing. And again, New Orleans Nation, I need you to understand that I've only told you about 4 women, but I got to tell you the order of operations. At this point in time, this is all we got for Alfred. But understand, women's is coming up missing left, right, and sideways in Springfield. Like it's a whole thing going on in this mug, right? And again, with Joyce, I got questions. Like, my main question, where the fuck she been for 3 weeks? Because it's been 3 weeks from the time she disappeared to the time that she was found. She wasn't outside this boarded up restaurant this entire time because somebody would have seen her. So where's she been? And she is actually factually frozen. Like, and I guess being in the elements in Massachusetts in March could make a body freeze, but it's not. Maybe at nighttime the lows dip below freezing, but during the daytime, historically, in the daytime it ain't freezing like that. So what the fuck Joyce been? Let me find out somebody been had Joyce in the freezer next to the fish sticks. Cause why is Joyce frozen? I don't get it. I don't understand. But you know what? We got evidence that points at Alfred being the killer that killed these women, but it ain't a slam dunk by any means at this point. And the police, they need more. And so they start fucking with Alfred. So they got him at the precinct, and they're like, we just wanted to give you an update, Mr. Gaynor. The test that we did on you, they didn't necessarily come back the way that we expected. And now that you got a lawyer, your lawyer done told us that we need to shut the fuck up talking to you. So you know what? We just want to let you know that we're going to back off. We ain't going to ask you no more questions. We ain't got shit to ask you about Joyce, okay? But that nigga Alfred, he couldn't help himself. He was like, oh, y'all ain't going to ask me about Joyce? Y'all ain't going to ask me nothing? Well, shit, let me ask you something. Y'all making any progress on finding out who did all them women? I mean, the shit on the news and, everybody talking about the serial killer that's on the loose. I'm just a concerned citizen looking for an update. And so the police was like, well, shit, Alfred, why you so interested? Did you know those other victims? And at this point, Alfred was like, you know what? I wish I could help y'all, but I don't know them chicks. And my lawyer told me that shut the fuck up is free, so I'm gonna do that. And he leaves, right? But please understand, the police don't believe for 1 minute that this nigga is not the one. He is the one, because the streets have been dropping dimes. Alfred is a regular on the crack scene, and he knows all of the victims. He's been placed with all of the victims, and he got a prior record. His ex-girlfriend said that he raped her and beat her up in her apartment in Indian Orchard 2 years earlier in 1996. Now understand, he was charged with rape and assault and burglary. Went to court and everything, but the jury thought it was some he said, she said shit amongst crackheads, and they acquitted Alfred of all charges. Little did they know that he would be back on the scene and be charged with some crimes that was way more serious than that. They finally got enough evidence for the district attorney to press charges against Alfred. They arrested him on April 8th, 1998, and they charged him with 2 of the women thought to be killed by a serial killer. We're talking about Joyce Dickerson and Rosemary Downs. Well, this is where it get good. This shit right here, let me tell you, April 30th, this is like 3 weeks later. April 30th, 1998. Alfred goes to a pretrial court appearance, right? He has pled not guilty to the charges, and this was just one of them hearings, that ain't really about nothing. It ain't gonna solve nothing. It's just procedural, right? Just one of them run-of-the-mill, nothing to see here kind of days, right? Except this day, oh, baby, it was about to be up in the most on-site way possible. All right, I'm gonna try to get through this and not scream and holler, because this thing tickles me. All right, so picture it. Alfred is standing at the defendant's table with his attorneys, right? He's shackled. He's got leg cuffs on, and his hands is cuffed behind his back, right? The judge is up there sitting behind the bench, and the DA and them over at the prosecution table, right? And there's like 3 flower rangers in there surrounding Alfred. These are the bailiffs, and they just standing around looking bored as fuck, right? They are just here for the just in case anything pop off. They can goddamn put that shit down real quick, right? Because, normally it's just 1 bailiff in there. But this time we got 3, right? But it's still just a regular day in court. Well, in the gallery of the courtroom is Alfred's sister. Her name is Catherine Gaynor. She there to support her brother. I ain't mad. Do what you do, girl. Can't help who you can too. But also in the gallery was Rosemary Downs' family, her son, Eric Downs, and his cousin, Robert Hill. Now, Eric fucked up. He doing bad. And that's to be expected. His mama was murdered, and he the one that found her in her bed, raped and murdered, right? So you ain't got to be a mama's boy to be fucked up behind that shit, right? So he in the courtroom, and he just crying. And, it just silent tears, and you could just see his body just racked with grief, right? Well, y'all know how the courtroom is set up. There's usually a little half wall that separates the audience of people who are just here to spectate from those who are in court to do court, right? And that's just how this one was set up. So Alfred, he's standing there cuffed next to his attorney, and the attorney is talking to the judge. Baby, tell me why all of a sudden you see Alfred flinch, and the next thing you know, Eric is on his ass. Baby, I'm talking a 2-piece on a biscuit. Whop, whop, bam. Baby. then, okay, so he jump on Alfred back and he just tagging that head. He is going to town on Alfred like wop, 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 double wop, whoppity wop, whoppity wop, 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 wop. Now, mind you, it's 3 goddamn flower rangers in this motherfucker that's supposed to be making sure that this type of thing don't pop off. And they just standing around looking bewildered. They ain't really doing shit to get Eric off of Alfred's ass. Now, by now, Eric got Alfred bent over that little wall, and he just molly-whopping the fuck out of Alfred's ass. I'm talking about he done opened up a supersized can of whoop ass on this killing killer that killed his mama. Baby, he beat that nigga for old and for new. I'm talking about he beat that nigga till he flipped over ass over tea kettle. So Alfred's feet is in the air. His head is on the ground, and Eric is still whipping his ass. But it looked like Alfred is going to flip over the wall and get out the way from Eric's hands. Baby, no, Eric ain't through. Tell me why. Eric pick up a chair and commenced to beating that ass. You remember how old boy picked that chair up on the riverboat fight, baby? Alfred is getting whoa the fuck out. And you know what? You deserve it, nigga. You deserve it. So by now, again, the Flower Rangers, they still ain't got Eric ass off of Alfred. So at this point, Alfred's sister Catherine, she realized ain't nobody gonna help her brother. And she just can't stand there and let him get the brakes beat off his ass. Because by now, Eric's cousin Robert, he done jumped in on the beat down too. They tag teaming that ass. So she run up on Eric and they kind of square up a little bit. Eric pop her in the face with a quick mush. And I'm trying to figure out what in the Barney Fife kind of fuckery is going on with the motherfucking law enforcement up in here, y'all. You got one job. One. Keep the motherfucking peace. I mean, normally, it ain't but one of y'all in the courtroom. They tripled up on y'all to make sure that no fuckery and foolishness popped off in this bitch. And y'all are just terrible at y'all job. Where the fuck did y'all get certified at? Top Flight Security Academy? Baby. Oh, my God. The bailiffs, they finally snatched Alfred up off the floor. Catherine, Alfred's sister, is pulling Eric off of Alfred. And why Catherine got to do the job of the bailiff? Y'all, I'm gonna put the link in the discussion group. Treat yourself and take a look at this goddamn fight. Like, how the fuck did they let this man get monkey stunt like this in the goddamn courtroom? I ain't mad, though. I promise you I ain't mad. I feel like every victim's family ought to have that opportunity. Like what Eric did. Baby, Eric Downs. You did that shit, baby. You did that shit. Now, it's complete mayhem in the courtroom. The white folks is running. They scared of the motherfucker. They don't know what's going on. Don't nobody want none of Eric smoke. And I don't blame him, but Eric ain't got no smoke for nobody but Alfred, the only person who need the smoke, right? But the judge is like, I know goddamn well y'all ain't showing out like this in my shit, right? And so he yelling at the bailiffs, do your damn job. Okay, I'm sorry. So then some more officers, they come up on the scene, and Eric and Robert and Catherine, they get arrested and taken into custody for having fisticuffs in the courtroom. And they take their ass out the jail, right? So the next day, after chilling at the county overnight, they find themselves back in front of Judge Robert Kumar. Now, at this point, there is 8 motherfucking officers in the goddamn courtroom, which the nigga would. But these folk don't want to fight each other. They nobody want to fight Catherine. As long as Alfred ain't in here, y'all ain't got nothing to worry about. So, not in fact, how the fuck you got 8 officers in here today and you had 3 in here yesterday? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it, Salt Gang. I'm talking about just stop it. But shit, like I said, by now, everybody is calm. And Judge Kumar, now I'm going to tell you, he gave Eric and Robert $1,000 bond and he let Catherine walk on her own recognizance. I mean, because she was a woman squaring up on 2 men. I mean, I'm just saying, she done did enough. She's sore as fuck, I'm sure, today. Judge Kumar was cool with it though, right? He ordered all of them to stay the fuck away from each other. But he understood that emotions were high. You know what I'm saying? He ain't saying it was right, but he understood. That's all you could do in these cases. And he was cool, right? Because he didn't bar any of them from coming to any of Alfred's future court appearances. He just told them that, hey, if you gonna come up in here before you come in the courtroom, you gonna have to check in so somebody know your ass is here. Cause we ain't gonna have no more shenanigans up in this bitch. Oh, my Lord. It's all downhill from here. That was the best part of the trial for me because we ain't even got to the trial. Now, speaking of the trial, it was too hot in Springfield to keep the trial there, so they moved the trial to Berkshire County, which is like an hour away from Springfield. Because the chances of him getting a non-biased jury in Springfield was like slim to none. But understand, Berkshire County was way more lily white than Springfield was. So, when it comes to picking a jury, you gonna get what you gonna get. But please understand, here come that old trifling bitch Pusha T, the one that gave birth to this diabolical bastard, talking about the police making a scapegoat out of her son. Talking about he went to the police station on his own free will trying to help them, and they just gonna twist the shit and make it look like what they wanted it to look like. Pusha T, I almost called you a bitch. God rest your soul, because Pusha gone, honey. She's gone on to see the king. But Pusha, sit your ass down somewhere and shut the fuck up, because, ma'am, your son is a whole ass killer and murdering murderer and raping rapist, like all of that shit, ma'am. So they go to trial, and it's about 3 weeks from start to finish. And on May 19th, 2000, an all-white jury convicted Alfred on all counts, rape and murder for all 4 women. And at this point in time, this nigga made history. In 2000, when this happened, they said that he was the first convicted serial murderer in Springfield history. His sentence? Oh, they gave that nigga life without the possibility of parole, because understand, Massachusetts didn't have no death penalty. And normally here is when I start talking about state property and what his EF number is and all that shit there. But I got some more names for you. Because we ain't done with Alfred's tale of fuckery. Not by a long shot. So, in the fall of 2008, this nigga get a case of verbal diarrhea. He say he got some more dirt to tell. So he called up the DA and say, I need to get some shit off my chest. And then this nigga commenced to start confessing to some more murders. And the shit is wild, y'all. Starting with Amy Smith and her daughter Destiny. Now, Amy was found strangled in her apartment in Springfield, July 5th, 1996. Now, her daughter, 22 months old, was not attacked during the crime, but her mama was dead and she was in the house with her. Nobody came to check on her. Nobody either heard her or they ignored little Destiny's screams, and she died of starvation and dehydration. Now, this happened July 5th when Amy got killed. The police found their bodies on July 11th. They lived in an apartment, and the neighbors were complaining about the smell. And so the police come and they find Amy and her daughter dead in this goddamn house. Now, the crazy shit about this is somebody has been convicted of Amy and Destiny's murder. And y'all ain't gonna believe this shit. Tell me why. A nigga named Paul Ficklin was tried, convicted, and given a life sentence in 1997. And understand this, Paul was Amy's baby daddy. Yeah, little Destiny's daddy. Ain't that some shit? But oh, it gets worse, honey. Oh, it gets so much worse. Paul is also Alfred's nephew. Yes. So check it. When the police found Amy and her baby, they immediately went and snatched up Paul because Amy had a restraining order against him, right? And when they get him in the box, he copped to killing Amy. He said he did it. So then they had him to write out his confession. And when he wrote it out, now he say that he was at Amy's house. He was mad because Destiny's diaper needed to be changed, so he was going off on Amy and her parenting skills. And then he took it a step further and put Amy in a headlock for like 3 minutes. 3 whole ass minutes in a headlock. But wait, it gets better. This monkey mouth motherfucker say he was up at Amy's house with a homeboy named Broadway. Paul say when he got through yoking Amy up, Broadway then started mollywopping Amy till she passed out. Now, while Amy is passed out, Broadway starts sexually assaulting Amy and then threw her in the closet. Nigga, what? You standing there watching all this shit go down because you writing this shit down on paper. Yeah, this nigga wrote this down. What the fuck? Number 2 lead, pencil to paper. Sir, he say him and Broadway left Amy's house, left his 22-month-old daughter in the house with her mama that was unconscious. And this nigga say he didn't go back and check on his daughter or his baby mama. Now, let me get this straight. You was so upset because your daughter, her pamper was soiled. But you mean to tell me you will leave her in the house in the middle of summer, no AC, and you know her mama is incapacitated at best, dead at worst? Sir, you a trifling, disgusting waste of flesh. So yeah, based off of that, they took his ass to trial and they convicted him of Amy and Destiny's murder. But now, understand, this nigga Paul, he been in prison since 1997. It's around 2008 when all of this shit started coming out, with Alfred confessing to some additional murders, right? He been locked down for a whole bunch of years, and now here go Alfred confessing to killing Amy. Now, Alfred say that he went to Amy's house and he was trying to get some food stamps. She wouldn't give him none, so he killed her and left her baby to fend for herself. You funky bastard. Now, at this point, he like, so I did the killing, so y'all need to let my nephew go, cause he ain't the killer in the family. That's my job, and I play my motherfucking position. And I know y'all disgusted right now. Like, what in the entire fuck? Like, why is this trifling ass motherfucker confessing to all this shit first and foremost? Like, why now? And there is an answer for that. You see, he said he couldn't do nothing about it while his mama was alive because he didn't want to break her heart by telling the truth about his murdering ways. Ooh, yeah, child. Pusha T, she died in 2006, and it took Alfred another 2.5 years to start facing the fact that he was a whole ass monster. Yes, sir. That was big facts. Big monster facts. Big. Now, when he confessed, understand the DA wasn't really trying to hear that shit. I mean, you just trying to get your murdering ass nephew out. That was the DA's position, and I feel that, right? And there really wasn't no appetite to change any of the paperwork from saying that Paul did it to saying that Alfred was the one that did the murdering. Some months drag on and on and on, and they ain't moving towards doing nothing about Paul's case. I mean, why should they? Paul was there. I mean, he's just as guilty as his uncle Alfred. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, fuck Alfred and Paul as a staff, record label, and a motherfucking crew. All of them deserve to rot in prison. But Alfred, he was determined to get his nephew a new trial. So Alfred was like, you think I'm playing with you? Hold my shank. Because understand, remember, he in prison. So then Alfred proceeds to confess to some more calations, y'all. He tells them that he killed 34-year-old Jill Ann Ermelini in June of 1997. See, Jill had just moved to Springfield from Connecticut when they found her dead and gone in an abandoned truck over off of Oak Street in Indian Orchard. Now, when they found her, she was naked and her body was badly decomposed. Because this was an abandoned car. You know how you have an old car out on the land somewhere? You don't go looking in that car. So she had been sitting up in this truck for a minute, right? Only thing they knew is that when she died, she liked a little of that crack-a-lack. Alfred say he met her. She was riding with another dude. They went to go get some rock. Some kind of way, him and Jill split off from the crew, and Jill went to go get some cigarettes. And so while she was in the store, Alfred gonna pick up some little rocks off the ground, literal rocks. And when Jill came out, he was like, look, I got some more dope, let's go smoke. And so they go get in this truck to smoke. But then Jill recognized really quick that, hey, that ain't no rock, that's actual rock, and she finna get out. But instead of Alfred letting her get out, he chokes her out, right? And then rapes her and leaves her in this truck to rot. Jesus. And he still ain't done snitching on himself. He says that he killed 29-year-old Robin Atkins. Now, they found Robin hog-tied and strangled in an alley off of Spring Street in October of 1997. Now, Robin had a whole lot of cocaine in her system, too. Dude used one of her socks to gag her. He said Robin, he bumped into her. She was looking for some crack. Her and another dude. They all smoked crack together. They all went their separate ways. He said later on that night, he ran into Robin again. He was like, hey, let's go smoke. And Robin was like, shit, bet. They go off into an alley, and once again, Alfred got some fake dope. And Robin is like, nah, nigga. And so Alfred was like, wait a minute, I know I ain't got no dope, but I got some dick. And Robin was like, nah, I'm fresh out. I don't want none. I'm straight. Baby, Alfred decides, no, you're gonna get choked out. And that's exactly what the fuck he did. He chokes her out. He ties her up. He rapes her the way he liked to rape him. And then the little money that Robin did have in her pocket, he take that shit and go catch the bus with it. Like, nigga, just trifling and still suffering from verbal diarrhea. He keep on talking and talking and talking. And then he was like, oh yeah, by the way, I killed my old lady. I used to fuck with a bitch named Yvette Torres. Now, Yvette Torres was 33 years old, and she got sent to the upper room in November of 1997. And it was her 11-year-old son that found her on the bathroom floor. Now, her tox screen, it showed a large amount of cocaine in her system. And at the time, the medical examiner said that that's what killed her. Yeah, cocaine toxicity. And that is what she died from. But it wasn't a dope. It was Alfred. Same shit. Choked and stroked, turned the water off. And that grimy motherfucker didn't even leave it at that. He robbed Yvette's house, took her VCR, her children games and shit, straight out the crackhead handbook. And that's a shame because I know Yvette's people had to tell the police that shit was missing out the house. How you gonna just say that she died of a cocaine overdose? That lady was murdered. And the medical examiner ain't shit. You know, when they see them tox screens and they see that skin color, because understand, Yvette was a person of color. She was a Latina. They just passed right on. Just fucking trifling all the way around. All y'all motherfuckers. Because all of these women were dying. As you can see, Alfred was getting it in. And it's still more women out here that died mysteriously. Women that died and they said that the reason that they died was an overdose. But they didn't even bother to look. They didn't even bother to check out to see this woman was killed by a monster. And y'all said she overdosed. Just fucking trifling. And now the DA got their dick in a spring because this nigga over here just confessing the cases and solving all these cold cases that's been sitting cold and dusty for years, but they didn't have no proof because they didn't investigate the shit. But they can't just ignore it because this nigga is counting them off, right? And so Alfred finds himself on the docket of a Hampden Superior Court judge for November 23rd, 2010 to try to figure all this shit out. Now Alfred is up in the courtroom still confessing. Like he still ain't done. Still. I mean, he was like, Your Honor, I got somebody else I want to tell you about too. Y'all didn't know about 45-year-old Vera Hallam's. I got her in 1995. Vera was a nice woman. She let Alfred sleep on her floor. And as a thank you, he beat her with a pot, tied her up with an electrical cord, and strangled her. He had planned on raping her, but she died before he could get around to it. Just a trifling motherfucker. This nigga been killing for more than a decade. And he say again the reason that he is telling it now is because his mama done went up yonder and she ain't here no more to hear him admit to all the shit he did. He said, quote, I was embarrassed and I didn't want it to appear that I was a monster, but I came to the conclusion that I am, end quote. Yeah, nigga, you a whole ass monster. Absolute facts. So now the Hampden DA office is in negotiations with Alfred's lawyer as well as Paul Ficklin's lawyer. The nephew, Paul's lawyer is like, shit, if Unc gon' snitch, you must have quit. Free my nigga Paul. And they just not gonna let Paul walk out of prison on a life sentence, right? So they set Paul up with a new trial and it's a new jury that they can tell that it's another killer out here who said that they was the person that actually killed the people that Paul was convicted of killing. But you know, that trial never happened. They just basically let Paul plead out to a manslaughter charge and they sentenced him to 19 to 20 years. That's an odd ass sentence, 19 to 20 years. And it's fucked up because Paul had already done 14 years by this time. When you add in time served for good behavior, they basically let him walk. Even though he copped to holding Amy in a chokehold while his uncle Alfred shoved a sock in her mouth and tied her hands up and killed her. All I know is y'all some trifling, stinking, disgusting ass sorry excuses for human beings. Like, They let this man out, and he killed or was a participant in the killation of his baby mama and his daughter. Fuck them niggas. Fuck all of them. All these new confessions ain't gonna bring none of these women back. They already was dead, gone, and dusty. And that's not being disrespectful to the dead. It's just facts. They let this motherfucker out of prison. Then, let them both rot. Now, Judge Peter Vellis, he feels kind of like how I feel because he was just disgusted with this nigga Alfred. But Massachusetts ain't got no death penalty. So he did the only thing that he could do to Alfred, which was sentence him to 3 more life without paroles. But, he already got 4. What's 3 more? And understand, who knows how many victims he actually got? They ain't told us about yet. Now, Alfred Gaynor is inmate number W68126 at the Massachusetts Correctional Institution Norfolk in Norfolk, Massachusetts. My sincere hope is that he is getting his anal cavity busted open every day and twice on Sundays by a big dick nigga named Tiny. I hope that he suffers from lie bumps on every square inch of his tongue every day for the rest of his miserable ass life. And I hope he get a bad case of the hiccups that just never stops. Just hiccup the rest of your miserable life away. Because Lord have mercy. Ain't this some shit? No, Nation, when I was doing this research on this case, all I kept thinking was this a goddamn shame that these women didn't get the opportunity to get clean and go on with their lives. Alfred cheated them out of a future. I know a gang of former crack smokers that got cleaned up and turned their lives around. They are deacons and deaconesses at the church now. Grandmamas and granddaddies to their children's baby. They are making up for their absences in their own kids' lives through the next generation. Smoking crack should not be a death sentence. We all fall short of the glory, but in the 80s and 90s, man, there was no sympathy, no empathy for anybody who enjoyed crack. There was just no sympathy, no empathy for them, right? And clearly, law enforcement wasn't trying to really see how these people died. They wasn't even trying to look for them. Once it was known that they were connoisseurs of the crack, they were just dismissed and overlooked. Every death was dope related. Like Yvette, how many were victims of serial killers? I've brought you so many stories of the killations of women from coast to coast who lost their lives because the nigga they were smoking crack with killed them. What is the true number? We will never know. But what a goddamn shame that they didn't get the opportunity to rehab. The women of Alfred Gaynor's case had 16 children between them. That's 16 kids deprived of the love of their mom. Some of these 16 children were the ones that found their mama. And don't get me started on Paul pussy punk ass. He killed his kid and they let that nigga out. Our justice system is fucked. The motherfuckers that need to be put under the prison, they let their asses out. And the ones who need help and not incarceration, they leave them to rot. Money talk and poor people just got to ride it out. It just don't make no sense. But you know what? We can continue this conversation on social media. You know how to get at me. I am Melanin Mayhem Podcast on all social media platforms, and on X only, I am Melanin Mayhem PC. If email is more your ministry, you can reach me at melaninmayhempodcast@gmail.com. It has been my pleasure kicking it with y'all today. But before I get up out of here, I need to go on ahead and give this week's New Orleans Nation shout out because I do so love these reviews, honey. And y'all be keeping them coming and I love it, baby. This week's New Orleans Nation shout out goes to Dina, who left a comment on Spotify. Dina said, in my 45-minute commute, you just made me literally scream in horror, then laugh to the point of tears. Sister Queen, you are absolutely one of the best storytellers ever. Thank you, boo. I do so appreciate your kind words. I'm glad I can make your commute a little bit brighter because, baby, that drive in or that drive home trust me, I got one of those of my own. So the fact that I can help get you to or from work, I am so blessed and so honored that you chose to spend that time with me. All of my boos listening through whatever platform you're listening to, thank you so much for spending some of your day with me today. I am about to get up out of here and I'm about to get up in this lab and chop this thing up so it'll be hot and fresh for you on Wednesday. I hope that you have a fabulous rest of your week. Don't eat too much candy out here in these trick-or-treat streets this weekend. And remember, I need y'all to stay safe. I need y'all to stay vigilant. And above all, remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. It's one love, one nation, and your favorite country girl is out of here.
Woo-wee, Nana, you did that.